What's up, y'all, man? It's Krwn Sotto. If you are listening to this or watching this, you made it to the new year, man. Happy motherfucking new year, man. We here, 2023. Boy, was 2022 something or what, man? Like, I tell you, first and foremost, let me say thank you to everyone that played a part and Fearless and Bold, the podcast, and just Crown Soto as a whole being as successful as it was in 2022. It was rough. It was rough to all the people that worked with me. I know it was not easy. But we made it. We made it to 2022. Quick shout out. I got a lot of announcements for you guys. First and foremost, for those of you who don't know, I'm a new dad. I just had a baby boy, Amir Yasir. He actually just turned 1 month on what's today? Wednesday? Monday. So he's 1 month. He's amazing and annoying, like most babies. So that's like the biggest news, like outside of business, like in my personal life. I am just happy and immensely excited to do this process all over again. I do have a 10-year-old daughter, but I missed out on a lot of her milestones and her life in general. So I'm thankful to be a part of my son's life, and just watch him grow and learn with him. So thank you to everyone that helped me to just keep that in mind throughout all of 2022. That's how I spent 2022. You guys might have seen me. You guys only got a small glimpse on social media, which I will be sure to give you guys a little bit more of my personal life on social media. Not too personal, but you know how that go. What's next? I am officially. I got endorsements, y'all. Like y'all know that I got endorsements. Shout out to Mr. Flavors. Um, and if you don't know what Mr. Flavors is, Mr. Flavors is a marijuana company based out of Queens, New York. And I actually knew the guy from very long, the guy who uh, heads the company, and never knew that was his company. And just through the power of poetry, I got to, we got to talking or whatever. And I went to Queens to go have a sit down with him about a completely different business venture. And he ended up asking me to be a brand ambassador for Mr. Flavors Connecticut. So as we speak right now, things are being finalized. Finalized. The logo is being put together. Um, so yeah, that will be the actual like site and merch and all of that is coming soon. I have. I don't know if you guys have seen this. Is Voodoo Valley Fonto. This is from my guy Gaudi. But we all have this, we are all brand ambassadors of this. It's Superb Fonto. I don't smoke, but I know it's superb because everyone has told me. And we mass produced this, and it is soon to be in multiple stores. We are in a few stores in Connecticut, and we are working on an actual flagship store in Manhattan. So just pray that we get there in due time. And then I have a new company. These reefer chicks. These are rolling papers. The creator and founder of this does not want me to disclose their identity just yet, but they are a big backer of mine. They definitely give me motivation, and we build on a regular basis. But they're still building their brand, and they don't necessarily want to attach themselves to the brand just yet, which I think is a smart idea. For all those out there that are entrepreneurs that are trying to start businesses and whatnot, please be aware that you do not always have to attach your face to your brand. Sometimes that is that could be a dire mistake because some people might not want to support you because of who you are. Um, you got to remember that once upon a time we were just regular people in this world trying to figure it out, and we all had done some not so nice things to other people, and it's easy to see where those people would personalize those things and whatnot. So just be aware of the risk that you are taking. Shout out to my amazing camera woman, VZ Vibe Time. If you guys haven't followed me that much on social media or don't know me, if this is your first time watching me or seeing me, this is the person that definitely pushed me to go further. Uh, Actually, if I'm being honest, this is one of the people that actually pushed me to take that leap of faith off the ledge. Um, and I did it, and I must say that she's been here every step of the way, and anything that I've needed help with, she's helped me with that, and given me amazing opportunities and ideas and brainstormers, and trust and believe when I get famous, when I make it, when I get to where I need to be, she's definitely going to be much compensated for her work. I am definitely not the easiest client. um, so there's that. We'll actually be doing more work. If our schedules permit it, this will be the standard norm now for your fearless and bold consumption. Will be video. Oh, we got these nice lights, backdrop. You know, I'm moving up. I got a little desk now. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm moving up. For those of you who are on audio, um, you can't see me, but if you subscribe to my channel, Krwn Sotto, you'll be able to see this episode. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome to the Fearless and Bold podcast. I am Krwn Sotto, um, founder of the Fearless and Bold podcast, in remembrance of my good friend and brother, Fearless and Bold Fab. An amazing individual. He really embodied what that Fearless and Bold name means, and really stuck to that. And it, the best way that you could honor anyone that has transitioned into the next life is to implement any lessons that they taught you, and to just continue to carry on and live out their way of life to the best of your ability. And I know that if my brother was here, this is exactly what he will be wanting me to do, to just be my best self, be my most authentic self, and just be a Bentley at it. You know what I'm saying? If you know, you know. For me. So yeah. What else? What else do I got going on? Man, I gotta. Oh man! Shout out to Trey, man. Shout out to Pyro the Great, man. He just gave me a wonderful opportunity to be in a book, a compilation. Shout out to all the artists that were in that book. It's a compilation. It's a poetry compilation called Homage to Home. It's available now on Amazon as an ebook and as a hardcover. This is the book right here. Thank you. It's the book right here, Pyro the Great, Homage to Home. It's amazing. I am actually in this book, but it is this is really a work of art, and I'm not just saying this because I'm in this book. This is on a scale of 1 to 10. This is a 10, just because of the collective. Everything goes together in this book, and I am so thankful to him for allowing me to even be a part of this. He was sending me writing prompts for the past few weeks now. Just been sending me writing prompts for poetry, and we're in this virtual poetry room on Twitter called In the Garden, with Poison Ivy. Shout out Poison Ivy, how you doing? And then he ended up starting his own space called Sessions, and we were just in there, just vibing, just being poets. And And I said he was sending me prompts, and then we he asked me like, "Yo, send me your best poem that you got." So I sent him what I thought was my best poem. I don't think it's my best poem now. I wrote something better since then, but at the time that was my best poem, and he said he had released this book on Wattpad at first called the Pyro Pack, and that shit took off. And he did what he was supposed to do. Oh, y'all really like this? I would pay me for this. You know what I'm saying? Pay, because poets are artists too, and we deserve to get paid for our art. We are artists just as much as rappers, just as much as fashion designers and graphic designers and painters and singers. Um, we are art too. We are the fuel for a lot of things, and I didn't even know that until I started moving around in the poetry realm like openly. Because I've always read and I've always written poetry, but I was apprehensive about sharing my work because I was so afraid of what other people would say. And now I don't really give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, no offense, if you dislike it, you dislike it. But I got to a point where this poetry became for me. I began to share it for me, not for the recognition or the accolades, but to let other people know this is what I go through or what I've been through, and to also offer some hope and inspiration that um, if I went through this and at the time I was going through it, I thought that that was the worst time of my life, and I made it. I can make it. I don't see why you can't make it. Um, so shout out to Pyro, and let me see. Let me read all the people because you know what I'm saying? I'm a crack baby, y'all. So we have Pyro the Great, as I've said already. We have Isaiah Zay 425 Haynes. We have King Sean Welch. We have the amazing Aisha Poetic Glory Garcia. We have Ashley Grandma Antoine. So I said we have Nazir with a Z. That's Nas with a Z, man, on any social media. I gotta say that because I know if he was here, he would say that. Nazir, Nas, Troutman, Indigo, Yaj, and Devon Barisol. I guess that's the Barisol Scott, and myself, Crown Sotto. Um, but my wonderful director just reminded me. I didn't forget, but just reminded me to remind y'all that I'm not new to this novel game. I'm not new to this book game. I also, yeah, I do everything. I also have a book. It's called Age Ain't Nothing But a Number by me, Crown Sotto. It's available on Amazon and hardcover. I mean, paperback and ebook. It's a part one and a part two, and this is about exactly what you think it is. Um, it's about delving into when does a person reach maturity? Does age define maturity, or does a mind state um, represent maturity? And it's based on a true story. It's centered around an actual event that happened in my life that changed the complete trajectory of my life. Not just where I would go, but how I would think and how I would feel about where I was going. And it caused me to look at people, places, and things a lot differently. Um, it's definitely not an experience that it's not an experience that I would wish on somebody else, but it's not something that I regret. I truly am grateful for the experience because it showed me who was who, and out of all the people that were revealed to me, myself was the greatest. I found me in this experience. Not just in the experience of writing, but just the experience of going through the things that led me to begin sharing my writing. So I am forever grateful and understanding of that process. Even though at the time I was angry, I was bitter, was upset. I was very confused, frustrated. All the typical things that you would feel when you're going through a tough time. Funny story, you guys. I usually do story time on TikTok, but now I'm gonna transfer it over here to the Fearless and Bold podcast. So, for those of you who know me, I'm always on the road. I'm always driving. I practically live in the car. Last night, or early this morning, I decided to go out for a ride. I was superbly nervous and apprehensive about doing this. I can sit and talk for hours. If you know me, you know I can do that. I can sit and talk for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. But to sit here in front of a camera is completely different. I'm essentially talking to no one, and I have to sit here for however long this podcast lasts, have a conversation with myself, which is like, it's different when it's when you're being video recorded. It's completely different. The vibe is different. And I just, have some other things going on in life as well. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get in the car. I'm gonna take a ride. But we live in Connecticut, home of the wild and crazy weather, and it was foggy as hell last night. Like, and the deeper you got into Connecticut, the thicker the fog got. So I'm driving. Um, I was in Bridgeport, just driving. Ended up in Fairfield, and I'm just driving, going through the motions or whatever the case may be, listening to music, cause it's very therapeutic. It's soothing. I take a few turns. Now I know where I'm at, but then I took a turn here and a turn here, y'all, and next thing you know, I was lost like a mug. And not just lost, but I was in total darkness. I couldn't see in front of me, I couldn't see behind me, I couldn't see to left or right of me. It was complete darkness. I've never experienced anything like that, and um, it was just extremely, it was terrifying. If I must admit it, it was terrifying because I couldn't see anything, and on top of that, I didn't know where I was at. I wasn't familiar with that road, so I didn't know like how to get to where I was trying to go because I didn't even know where I was at. And for me, maybe it's because uh, I've been given the gift of being able to write poetry. Maybe it's because I just have a higher understanding of self. I liken that to where I felt like I was at times in life, just not knowing where I was at, not even knowing where I was trying to go, just knowing that I couldn't stay where I was at. I couldn't stay where I was at. I don't know where this road is gonna take me, but I know where I just came from. Like, it's complete darkness, but I can't even turn around. Even if I wanted to go back the way that I came, I can't even turn around because I can't see what's. I literally cannot see what's. I have to just trust. I have to have faith that if I continue to go forward and just monitor my steps, that I'll make it. And that's essentially what I did. I blew through the fog. I was driving. Thank God I didn't crash or anything like that. No animals or anything jumped out of. And that's the crazy thing too. It was like 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking, yo. Um, but so now I'm driving. Boom! I see a car. So now I'm tempted to stop, but I'm like, I'm 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 me. So I'm thinking like if I stop and these people, what if these people don't have the nicest intentions for me? Then what? So I just kept going. I trusted that I was going to make it wherever the fuck I was gonna make it at. So I seen the guy or whoever was driving the car, but before I could do a U-turn and follow him wherever the fuck he was going, he was gone. So I sat in this parking lot, y'all. Um, for a whole damn near a whole hour sat in this parking lot and I was terrified as fuck. So I was doing this. I would pull out in the middle of the road and then I would just back up into the parking lot because I didn't want to stand still. Listen, y'all, this Easton. You know what I'm saying? This shit happens. And certain parts, I'm so far back here where certain parts I don't even got no service. I can't even make a phone call. So God forbid if something was to happen, like nobody would even know where the fuck I was at or why I was out there, or nobody would know anything. And that was like, it was very scary because, like I said, I couldn't see. I couldn't see in front of me. I couldn't see where I was going. So I happened to see this man jogging, but it was so dark and the fog was so thick that when he first was coming up the hill, he had one of those headlights on. All I seen was this little light bouncing. And I'm like, what if this is the police? What I didn't know was that the police station was down the hill. But I'm like, what if this is the police? So I wait for him to get closer. I put my window down. I ask him to come over, tell him like I'm lost. This guy makes it seem so simple. He says, you go down the hill, you take a right, you go down about a mile, and then you take another right, boom, interstate's right there. And I'm like, it's not that easy, sir. Um, but seeing him gave me the confidence to just drive out because I thought about it like if something happens to me, at least there is some person that's seen me, and if I crash, he'll hear me. And I just prayed that that I would make it, and I made it, and that's another lesson that I got from it. That sometimes you could be so lost in where you're at in life, you could be so distraught and so angry and confused and depressed that your way out, your exit is right in front of you, but you can't see it. And it'll take for someone else to be walking confidently through that darkness for you to give you the confidence to be like, well, if they can do it, I can do it. Excuse me, because he was walking, he was jogging or whatever, but it's pitch black and 5 o'clock in the morning. Anything can happen, and he felt so comfortable. And like, it's crazy that coming from where we come from, a lot of us come from where you got shootouts, you got gang violence, you got drug addicts, and all types of craziness. Is so much unpredictability, and I can't say I was never scared because at some level, like you got to be scared in order to move how you move out there. But like it's been a long time since I was that terrified because I couldn't see, and I felt so out of control. And um, I hate not being in control. I absolutely despise that. So, but seeing him gave me the confidence I needed to be like, you know what? Fuck it. Because if something's gonna happen to me, I'd rather it happen while I'm fighting to get out of here as opposed to just sitting here and being complacent. And again, that's just another metaphor for life in general. There's been a few times where I've been lost and had no clue where I was or how I was gonna get out of it. But I trusted. I just had faith, and that's what I inspire and aspire to do with my podcast. Everyone that I talk to about my podcast, either as having them as a guest or just getting them to listen and now watch, they ask me, what is your podcast about? And that's what it's about, is to ignite the fire that's already inside of you. Is to whatever greatness that you have inside of you, to let it out, to tell my story, and maybe it's your story too. To let you know that it is possible. I come from darkness. I come from a bad place, but I've always had a greater mindset that I wanted better, and I've been fortunate enough to be placed around individuals that wanted better for me too, not to benefit them but to benefit myself. And that is a major key, is to be aware of the people that you're around, to be knowledgeable of what you want. And if the people around you don't want what you want, and let's not get it confused, we're not talking about a yes person, a person that tells you you can do this and you can do that and yes, 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 yes. No. but a person that really puts you in a position to empower you to do you, to be the best you, and not look for the accolades, not look for the shout out every time every time you reach a milestone, they looking for you to shout them out. Like, nah, it's really somebody that empowers you to be the best you that you could be. And I must say, outside of you know, my brother Fab, that is what my good brother Goldie is for me. I know y'all about sick and tired of me saying his name. He is most certainly sick and tired of it. Every time I sit with him, he tells me the same thing. Like, bro, you don't owe me nothing. You gave me loyalty, and but I don't think what he understands is just the importance of believing in me at a time in my life where I had no clue what I was going to do in my life. I just knew that what I was doing wasn't working. But, all too often, we will know what the fuck we doing ain't working, but because we don't know what else to do, we'll just keep on doing that. We gonna keep on pushing with that. And, he had some faith in me after, again, the wonderful VZ told me, had been telling me for quite some time, like, you should write poetry, you're a very good writer, you're a very good speaker. I was just like, I told her, like I told everybody else, man, I'm thugging, I'm in the streets, like, and that's not something I glorify, but it made me who I am, and it gave me the courage to be here. I done been in the room with killers, I done been in the car with killers, I done been in prison with killers, with motherfuckers that'll do the most unimaginable, heinous things, and go home and sit down and eat dinner with their kids. So if I could do that, if I could be outside with these type of people, with drug addicts that jump off a bridge if they think they're gonna get a hit for it. If I could do that, then doing this ain't about nothing. At this point in my life, I've endured the most strenuous ridicule that a person could think of. All the negative, bad stuff that can be said to a person or about a person, it's already been said about me. So um, I'm. That's not to say that I'm not nervous. If y'all know from my earlier videos, I was like this. I was very, but that's really me. I'm in my normal life. When I was pure and innocent, I was very shy and timid. I didn't like to talk. I didn't like conflict. I still don't like conflict. I still don't necessarily like to be around a lot of people. And surprisingly, this is going to be a shocker to all of you guys. I don't like talking. I don't. I just got to a point in my life where I realized the power of words. I realized what me using my words, where and what it could get me. And furthermore, where me standing on what I said could get me. Because your loyalty, your face being clean, as we say in the streets, your face being clean can get you places that money can't. It can people knowing that you're about what you say you're about. It's a good reputation. It's a good rapport. And I feel like I've always had that. I've never done anything to anyone that didn't deserve it. Um, so once again, I said all of that to say my podcast is specifically designed and aimed at those people who may be at the cusp of realizing who they are and not knowing how to bring it to fruition. And I only aim to inspire and to motivate. I don't aim to do anything else. I aspire to motivate and to get you up out of your complacent state to do something more with your life. Um, if you have the ability, if you have the potential, because I'm not one of these Bible wielding pastors that would tell you everybody's destined for the kingdom of heaven or everybody's destined for greatness, because that's not the truth. That is not the truth. And you can tell that when you look at nature. You have some trees that are bigger than other trees. You have some shrubs that are shrubs that will never grow to be great tall oak trees or maple trees or spruce trees. They'll be shrubs forever, and that doesn't make them any less of foliage or a tree than a giant oak tree in a forest. But they've reached their maximum potential. However, for those of you who have the greatness inside you, and greatness recognize greatness, if it's inside of you, it would be disrespectful not only to yourself, but to the force that put it inside you to not cultivate that, to not build it up, to not let that out because the world needs that. Um, so, and I'm saying this to you because people said this to me, and it was point in time where I didn't know how to, like I said, I didn't know how to do it. I didn't necessarily believe it. And I still have days like that, trust and believe. Today was one of those days where it's just one of those days after you've been through so much turmoil and so much hurt and confusion. Like sometimes you just believe that that's what you're destined to have, but it's not. It's at least not for me. I know that I'm destined for so much more, and I can't wait to get that. I can't wait for you guys to be a part of this process because, baby, let me tell you something. It's finna go up. You hear me? It's finna go up. We got a lot of amazing things planned for 2023. I will have a bunch of guests. Shout out to 448 Poppy too, man. He's one of my great supporters, man. Anytime that I drop anything, he is right there, and we have great conversations. And I am immensely impressed and amazed with his work and his work ethic, man. Shout out to the gang in there, man. 240, if you don't know, now you know. Shout out to RTL J Dot. Shout out to Wudini 240. Shout out to Dip Blaze 240. Obviously, Gaudi 240. Then you have me, myself, Krwn Sotto 240. Shout out to DC. Shout out to Karma. Who else do we have? Shout out Straight After Strain podcast. That's the Bros podcast, man, about Bud. It's amazing. I don't smoke bud, but the podcast is funny. The podcast is funny and it's very informative about the different types of marijuana that there are. If you should like to consume that, there you are. And just shout out all the entrepreneurs out there that are doing their thing. Shout out to Dre Mo, man. Psychopath Podcast. She is amazing. And if you guys have not heard her podcast, you should. You should. She is amazing, and she is actually the person. She is the reason why I am on a podcast. Period. I had no clue how to start a podcast, and I slid in her inbox on Facebook as I do daily, asking people to read my poetry. She loved my poetry and said, I would love to have you on my podcast. And I'm like, you got a podcast? I had just been telling someone the week before that I actually wanted to start my own podcast. And I'm like, how'd you do that? And she could have been like, well, it's easy, figure it out. But she didn't do that. She really gave me the game. And I I posted my first podcast in July, and here we are now in January of 2023, and I'm on a visual podcast. But she is amazing. She is dope. She is very insightful and intelligent, as well as beautiful. Um, I don't know if her DMs are open, but she no, but seriously, she is amazing, and you guys can learn a lot from her because I learned a lot from her, her story, and her journey, and just her perseverance. She is definitely an inspiration. Raw Sass out of Philly, man. Shout out to Philly and the whole state of Pennsylvania. Another big motivator, another big role model, somebody that you know gave me a nice blueprint, a nice template. I was on his podcast, All on the Table podcast, which is a visual podcast, and it opened my eyes to a lot of things of what people expect from a host as well as a guest. And shout out to Timmy. from Timmy Talk. He actually was the first person that gave me my first opportunity to be in a visual podcast, and that was sometime last year. I want to say in June or July, and we did numbers. You know, we did numbers. His audience definitely loved us, and it put it in my head at that time that people actually like video consumption. They like that a lot. I just wasn't in the position to do that at that time. But we here now, and this, you know, as I said at the beginning of this, God willing, this will be the standard way that Fearless and Bold podcast will be presented to you guys through audio and visual. If you don't know, you can follow me on YouTube, Krwn Sotto 240. You can find Fearless and Bold podcast on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify or on Anchor. It's all the same. Krwn Sotto, Fearless and Bold, the podcast. Find me on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and TikTok, all the same name, Krwn Sotto 240. If you run into another Sotto, I promise you, I assure you, they are a fraud. There's only one. Well, actually, that is a lie. My son is now a Sotto, yes, Amir Yasir Sotto. So, but you definitely won't run into him, not for quite some time. But so for the meantime, if you run into another Sotto right now, that's not me. It ain't it, player. It ain't it. Shout out to Grigio, man, out of Stanford, Scotty Grigio, man. He's an amazing artist and someone that I'm also in the works of dropping a project with. Um, I know y'all probably be like, Dave, he just shouted out everybody in his podcast. Like, but that's what this is. I want to show love. By the time this is out, we will be at the second week of January. Be sure to put in y'all orders for Valentine's Day poems. I will be doing Valentine's Day poems, $10 a pop. Come see me, as well as I got a special Valentine's Day coquito. If you haven't tried my coquito yet, come shop, man. Come see me. I have an amazing Valentine's Day coquito dropping special edition. Only a certain amount of orders will be made. And just continue to support me, man. Continue to pour into me. Continue to just uplift me and keep me in your prayers. And remember that um, I am a human. I am a human being. I make mistakes. I did not go to school for this. I did not take any formal training. I am winging this. I am just the dedication and the consistency you see from me is purely from the passion that I have from inside of me. So be sure to just continue to support me. Like I said, I'm on all social media platforms, Krwn Sotto or Krwn Sotto 240, the number 240. And just remember to stay crowned, man, and stay fearless and bold, man. Once again, Happy New Year to each and every person, man. If you made it to 2023, congratulations for all the ones that we lost in 2022. Blessings and rest in peace.